You are listening to the Marketing 32 Show with your host, Brett Allen.
Hi, Brett Allen here, host of the Marketing 32 Show, where I connect with leading dentists, dental influencers, and industry experts to give you guys the latest and greatest in dentistry, talk about the innovations and advice to help you grow and thrive in your dental practice. This episode, as always, is brought to you by our team here at Marketing 32. We are the only dental marketing team that I know of that is truly invested in your growth with a performance guarantee. So if you're not growing, we don't get paid. We really try to find those practices that we know we can help. And so if you need help growing your practice or curious about marketing with our team, head over to marketing32.com. We'll set up a brief call to see if we'd be a great fit. And let's help you grow. Quick shout out to Dr. Stephen Katz. Had him on the show recently. We talked all about how he's helped deliver over $300 million in practice growth across lots of different practices, in part by standardizing diagnosis and improving case acceptance. Really fascinating episode. A lot of good advice there. So check that one out. Today, I'm excited to have my new friend, Joanne Miles, on the show. She is the lead investment grade practice business advisor with Productive Dentist Academy, known as the Swiss Army Knife of Dentistry, for her versatile expertise. With decades of nationwide experience, she helps dental practices grow through operational excellence, team engagement, and leadership development. Joanne is passionate about aligning business success with core values and meaningful connections. And we do have a meaningful connection, Joanne, through Speakers Consulting Network, where we met.
Yeah.
Grateful for that and grateful to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor. I'm excited.
Yeah, this will be a fun conversation. So tell us, how did you get into dentistry? What was that journey like? And then ultimately, how did you get with Productive Dentist Academy? And what do you guys do there that's so special and unique?
Yeah. So I, like many people, have probably a similar story to mine of our beginnings. In 1986, I was doing the first 2 years of college. I actually thought I was going to be a nurse. That's what I thought I
Really?
was going to do. And I walked by this dental assisting program, and it just seemed really interesting. And me being sort of a analytical and practical, responsible person, I opened up the newspaper to the help wanted ads, and it was 3 solid pages of dentistry.
Really? Wow.
Right. So I was like, cool, bulletproof. I could
Going to
have a job
dentistry.
here, right? And it's
Okay.
helping people, which was the thing. So I started as a registered dental assistant in California, where I grew up, and just sort of migrated in all the little chairs of the office and did
Okay.
different roles. And then next thing you know, one day I was called into the doctor's office and was told that the office manager had embezzled over $100,000, and that I was
Oh,
now the new
man.
office manager. And that was
Wow.
my first soiree into management. It was,
Wow. That's
I
like
would
a
say,
whole, we could go down that rabbit hole, right? Like, I've heard some crazy stories of embezzlement by team members. So
yeah.
that's,
And this
yeah.
was, this is the 80s, so it was interesting. And so that was like my first baptism by fire, if you will,
Yeah.
of management and running a business. And
Yeah.
I've always
Practice.
been curious. And so I learned what I could. I was a voracious learner. And then I realized I kind of hit what I would consider an artificial ceiling, because I don't believe in ceilings in dentistry. But I needed to learn more. And so I actually went to go work for one of the larger DSOs for about 7 years to
Oh,
truly
okay.
round out my education, we'll say. And it was very rewarding. I learned a lot. But my heart is really more in helping the private practices or group practices grow. And
Yeah.
mainly the
In
team
working
members.
with the DSO, sorry to interrupt you, were you an office manager of the DSO, like of one of their practices, or were you managing a group of practices?
So that's how I started. I started
Oh, okay.
as a manager. I opened one of their first locations in the San Francisco Bay Area market.
Okay.
And And then they, opening within the company came up to open the Midwest region, which was Kansas and Missouri. So I moved, got a promotion, if you will, into more of a regional role to help open
Oh,
up a
okay.
region. And so I did a lot of training, of other team members, training of people who never even worked in dentistry to now run the
Mm.
dental business. So I learned a lot about, real estate, building de novos, opening from scratch,
Wow.
team development
Yeah.
of every role in the practice. So it was a lot of fun. And then I decided I got what I needed, and I needed more balance to my life at that point. So I went ahead and got back into, and consulting ultimately has always been my goal.
You like to
Consulting
teach.
and
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah.
And so I had the opportunity to come to Productive Dentist Academy and become a consultant. And so I started as a team development coach, and now I'm a business advisor. And then I do a lot of other various things. I do speaking. So I'm excited. It's just been this, and that's why
Yeah.
I say there's no ceiling in dentistry, because I
Yeah.
started as a registered dental assistant, and I sit here today, many years later. But that this industry has given me that opportunity, and then
Yeah.
I stepped through those doors.
That's awesome. So
Mhm,
tell us more about Productive Dentist Academy. What's that group like? What do you guys do there? How do you work with practices? Tell us all about
mhm.
that.
So we are probably considered one of the more comprehensive consulting groups,
Mm-hmm.
because we have, I would say, the key experts in each of the areas that would require the growth of the dental business. The area that I work is on the business side, so it's the coaching. So we do a lot of the helping doctors really realize the practice of their dreams. We're The thing that's so interesting about consulting is a lot of this has evolved. And the one thing that I will say about our co-founders, Dr. Bruce Baird and Dr.
Yeah,
Victoria
Dr. Beard.
Peterson, is that when people zig, they zag. And
So
they
they don't follow
no,
what everyone's doing. They're kind of
no, but
blazing their own
they're
path.
so forward thinking. They really do
Mm,
have a pulse on what is missing. And
mm,
live events, there's always going to be a place for live events.
mm-hmm,
But not everybody has the time or the
mm-hmm.
finances. A lot of team members have young families, and they can't
Yeah.
just leave with the doctor and go do CE for a weekend.
Yeah.
So the thing that's super exciting is we've created a new online platform learning product called the Clinical Calibration Institute.
Yeah.
And so
This
here's
sounds neat from what you were telling me.
Yeah, and we're here to solve a problem. So a lot of doctors want coaching, and we often say is the more successful you are, the more support is required.
Mm.
So if you look at any top CEO, they have coaches.
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah.
have people supporting them, and that's what we do. So it's not a pride thing. It's like, oh, I need help to grow my business. No, you're really successful. You have a limited amount of time, but you've put all this investment in school. You've come out of
100%.
school with some pretty heavy debt.
Yeah. And
Most
you've
of us
invested
have.
all on the clinical side and
Right,
not on the administrative leadership and
right.
practice
But
management
you're
side.
wanting to grow. And one of the biggest things we'll hear from dentists is, I've done all this education, and I thought I explained it to everybody, but they're not
Mm.
following my lead. They're not
Mm.
calibrated to my
There's a
standards of care.
disconnect. Yeah.
Right. So the Clinical Calibration Institute is an online learning platform where we have on-demand learning for every role in the practice. And then ultimately, it's to bring everybody out of the silos, the hygienists in their silo, the dental assistants in theirs, the admin in theirs, the dentist, the associate dentist, bringing
Mm.
them all together. And so that there's one cohesive clinical philosophy, there's a standard of care, there's a language behind it, and then there's the how do we schedule to be productive? How do we communicate to be productive? Um, and then it's also a mentorship area as well. So if it's, say, a doctor is bringing in a new associate, how do we get them up to speed quicker? Well, they have this online platform of clinical training and learning from some of the best in our industry. And,
Interesting.
all around risk factor conversations, comprehensive diagnostics, caries detection, periodontal protocols and health.
Interesting.
So it's really all about intervening in the disease process, but then it's also bringing in the admin team, the dental assistants, so everyone is all lockstep. And the
Wow.
thing that's really beautiful about this also is that we have monthly masterminds for each of these roles. So the hygienists have a mastermind where they can come on. It's all
Your
done via
individual
Zoom.
team members are participating as well. It's not just for
Right.
the office
Exactly.
manager or the doctor.
Exactly. We'll have masterminds where maybe I will be one of the coaches on there facilitating, or if it's one of our clinical calibration coaches, one of our hygienists that are on there coaching, and we facilitate learning. So it's peer learning. They get some coaching in the moment,
Hmm.
and that's done monthly. And I always say the answer's in the room. So to be able to connect people, and the thing that's super cool is this is worldwide. We have people in the
Wow. Yeah.
institute. I actually we have these private communities where they can ask questions and they'll get coaching right in the moment. And I just answered a question from a doctor's wife in Belfast, Ireland, that are in the program.
Wow.
So
A lot
it's
of different diversity then in thought and experience. So, yeah, yeah, that's
yeah.
cool.
N it's I would say it's kind of like if you're not ready for full coaching, this is a really great product because it's a
Mm,
monthly, subscription. It's for the entire team, no matter if you have 4 team members or 20 team members. It's for the entire team, and you're paying virtually less than, I would say, a doctor who's contracting with a PPO. It's less than what you're getting paid for a crown a month.
wow.
And you can't, now you're talking about being able to increase your productivity by hundreds of thousands of dollars, um, for a very low fee, but
Yeah.
you're not compromising the learning.
Yeah. It sounds like it's also the way you've structured it for the different team members and the different topics, that it's consumable. It's not going to be overwhelming from
Exactly.
a, yeah, these in-person events are great, like you said, but they do require a good amount of time. The benefit of doing an at-home course or even, in bite-sized increments with your team is it seems like that method or modality of learning is then more able to be consumed and implemented and taking action with it. How do you get what are some of the challenges that you often see when you're working with practices who are going through a training like this? What are you mentioned that disconnect. There's not this cohesive ability to, I'm the leader, I'm the doctor or the OM, and it's not clicking. That's one thing. Are there other things that you see in working with practices that are a common bottleneck or roadblock?
I think, we all have some degree, including myself, this affliction of, well, we always used to do it this way. We always done it
Oh
this
yeah.
way. Why would we, switch?
Yeah.
And, again, I kind of gave you part of my background. I started in 1986. Well, I didn't wear gloves, masks, or glasses in school. But
Really? That
when
was
I
kind of common back then?
that was common,
Oh
right?
wow.
And then there was this little, thing called HIV that came along, and all of a sudden
Oh
we were all
man.
gloved up and everything. But so the point is that we evolve and we change, and we're evolving again now with AI
Yeah.
and technology and everything coming in. And I we've COVID did a lot of, I would say, horrible things to us. But the one thing, the silver lining of it for us in dentistry is, at least, is that now our general population has made the connection between the mouth and the body, and that they're
Mm,
actually connected. And
yeah.
now we have the opportunity, and that's where we really go deep into CCI. A lot of these modules are on that whole body health and linking risk factors such as heart disease and diabetes and Alzheimer's to periodontal disease. And then
Yeah.
it's teaching
Well,
the team.
dentistry's always known that, right? But the
Always
patients,
found it.
yeah, the patients
Right.
didn't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But dentistry has never had an online platform that had on-demand learning for the entire team to get on the same page and calibrate and learn this at a deeper level. And that's what's so amazing about this.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, everything being on demand is so great because you can consume it in bite size. You can schedule out your schedule so
Mhm.
that you're getting it as you need it.
Mhm.
It's not like immersing yourself in an event, consuming all this stuff, and then trying to implement it and remember all the different things along the way.
Mhm.
I do think that's a great way to learn and a great way to make an impact in a practice. Is there a recommended cadence? Is there like a recommended flow that you take them through in the programs? Like, hey, this week consume this video by the end of the week, something like
Yes.
that,
I
where
mean,
you're guiding
it is
them.
it is on demand. I mean, there is a logical flow to the learning.
Okay.
There's some building blocks.
Yeah.
So we will recommend that you do it in this order, but that doesn't mean you can't go out of order. So if your hygienist, like if that is your 911 in your office is periodontal disease and intervening in the disease process and getting everyone on the same page, absolutely jump into those modules first. We
Right.
have Dr. Kim Cooch, who's renowned in caries detection and care and really rethinking how we not only diagnose it, but then how do we treat it from a risk factor point of view? Because one of the most frustrating things for dentistry in general is that if a filling fails, say, the patient is automatically going to say it's that dentist's fault. They didn't do good work. But if we're not having meaningful conversations and really getting to the root cause of why does this patient have decay in the first place? Could they be taking a blood pressure medication that's drying out their mouth, which now raises the pH and the acidity level? So now
Mm,
they're at a higher risk of decay. So
yeah.
it doesn't matter how beautiful your filling is if you don't address the root cause and the risk factors and then help your patient have a great change
Haven't,
their home care.
yeah,
Yeah,
understanding
that
around
filling
what's
can
happening.
last for life now if they're using the right rinses, if they're doing the right home care, if they're coming in on the right intervals for recare visits, for your hygiene
Yeah.
visits, things of that nature. So we go to that's how deep of a level of comprehensive care, comprehensive diagnostics, and then how do we talk about it in layman's terms so patients really truly understand what's at stake?
Yeah. That's cool. It sounds like these philosophies and the process applies to not just general practice, but specialties as well. A lot of it,
Absolutely.
everything that you're training on. That's really
Yeah,
neat.
and then it's about getting it on the schedule. How do we help patients afford the care that they need?
Hmm.
So it is a it's the Clinical Calibration Institute. It may sound like it's all clinical, but there's some very best practices around systems and optimizing the systems in your practice, such as scheduling your phone calls, your billing, your financial solutions, talking how to talk to patients about that. So
Hmm.
we're coming at it at all angles, and then we're giving them the opportunity to come on these, monthly masterminds where they get to be with their peers from all around the world and the US. And
That's neat.
and then there's a coach or two on there. So now they're getting coaching in the moment as well. And they haven't left their office, their home, wherever, because it's all done virtually.
Yeah.
And then we have the online community for, quick, "Hey, I got a question. Can someone help me?"
Cool. Okay.
And then we will be putting on some regional events in the future. So we're gonna be building on this as well and continuing to add more modules. And again, it's really a very low cost monthly subscription
Yeah, it
for
sounds
everyone to
like
grow together.
it sounds like the amount of value and the in-depth training, the spectrum of things that you cover, the team engagement. Sounds like an amazing opportunity at a great price, like you're saying. How
Yeah.
are you in working with in this program, what is your expertise? What are you focusing on? I know you're speaking at ADOM coming up.
Hmm.
What is it that you like to focus in on when you're working with practices?
It's the leadership component and the business building. So the leadership component is really helping, um, you know, the the thing I have, I'm going to back up a little bit. So I have been a member of ADOM, American Association of Dental Office Managers. I try to think back, I think 2009. So I've been a member. I've earned all of I'm on the diplomat status now of ADOM. There was never education for the admin team.
Mm,
There, you would go to
prior to it, yeah.
the big conventions, and in my day, there were the big conventions you go to, and there was pretty much 99% all clinical, and maybe there'd be one or two things admin business wise.
Oh, wow.
So if you were as curious as I am to learn and how do you really run this business, dentists are entrepreneurs. They're still running, they're not only the clinician, but they're running a business.
Yeah, very
Um,
much. Yeah.
so there was not a lot of education out there for my role as a manager at the time. And that's where ADOM came in and really filled that. And we got to be with like-minded people. Now it's a huge organization. It's
Yeah.
got some of the best education. And so I'm a huge believer. So the being able to now present in breakouts and to pay it forward and give to and continue to show the team members, the administrative team members, that there's no ceiling, and here's some ways to solve your problems. And so my breakout is going to be on the different learning styles that people have. There are people who are just, quick, 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 let me read it and I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
And then there's those that need to stop and think and absorb
Process
and take
it.
their
Yeah.
time and process, right? And you put those two people together, and there is not going to be learning unless you have an awareness about
Yeah.
everyone's learning style, and you create a framework to create training that is customized for each of your team members. And so
That's
that we're
awesome.
going to have fun. We're going to have, I'm actually workshopping it. I'm going to, I'm going to teach the OMs about their learning style, and then we're going to simulate
Cool.
an actual team meeting, but through them doing the exercise. And then I'm going to give them all the tools to take that back the next week, and they can actually implement this fully.
That's
So
way
I'm
cool.
I'm I'm really excited. So that's my area, is about developing the team members to be leaders in their own role, title or not, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love that.
And
That's
and
cool.
then yes, as a business advisor at PDA, I'm helping doctors create what we call an investment grade practice, where it has a value. So when and if in time you're ready to sell, you have a true investment and value, and not only for yourself, but for whoever's coming in to purchase the practice. The
Yeah.
systems, everything's so optimized that it'll keep growing
It's a
with the
good
new.
asset. You get a better exit with that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we're about out of time. I always ask people to close with one bit of advice. If there's
Hmm.
one thing, something that's been like a huge epiphany for you that you could share that has made a big impact for in dentistry,
Hmm.
what would that one piece of advice be, you think that is that you could share with everyone?
I think well, for me, my epiphany coming back was leadership.
Okay.
However, it was about leadership in my own life.
Mm,
That in order for me to lead others and be the best version of myself for others, I had to lead myself first.
mm,
And that meant having, maybe looking at some hard truths,
mm,
that, I allowed certain boundaries to break down to the point where I was now at risk and unhealthy and
mm,
tired. My vitality was gone, but that
mm,
was my fault as a leader to me.
mm,
So in order to lead others in life, you have to lead yourself.
mm.
And it was a real, that was a big eye opening for me.
Yeah.
Um, and then, doctors, this is another hard truth. Your name is on the door. No one can care more about it than you. So
Mhm.
you have to show up as that leader and care the most. But then, you know, help the people around you care as much, understand what your vision is, what the purpose of why we're showing up every day to do
Yeah.
dentistry. And that's where that leadership, it's the culture, it's the cultural North Star of the practice.
Yeah.
So the term leadership, unfortunately, is a little overused. Um, but I think if there's an alignment in whatever
Yeah.
that is, whatever your beliefs are, if there's
The
alignment, and then
self-work.
you can, yep, and then you can articulate it, you can actually say it with clarity, your team will follow.
Yeah. I love that. It sounds like the clinical, what was the name of it again? The
Clinical
Clinical
calibration.
Calibration
Yeah,
Institute.
CCI.
Yeah. It sounds like that's a great resource to help you do that. Just that.
It is.
You
It
do the
is.
self-work
Absolutely.
and then communicate it so that it's cohesive throughout the team and the practice. That's so cool. Well, thank you so much, Joanne, for coming on and sharing all this advice and sharing about what you guys do at uh, Productive Dentist Academy and the work you're doing and how you're speaking on these things. Very cool. And if people want to work directly with you, what's the best way, or if they want to work with PDA and do the Clinical Calibration Institute, like where do we send them?
So, productivedentist.com, and it's
Okay.
dentist, not dentists. There's
Okay.
no S at
Product.
the end.
Okay.
Dentist.com. And if you want to get a hold of me, it's just my name, Joanne Miles, at productivedentist.com. And
Okay.
I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn as well. And if you just go to our main website page, all of our coaching products are on there, including CCI.
Okay, great. Productivedentist.com. We will have that in the show notes so you can
Perfect.
click over. And again, thanks for coming on the show, Joanne. This was a great
Thanks for having
conversation.
me. This is fun.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Until next time on the Marketing 32 Show, have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your summer. Take care.